just feel the excitement in this city. Thousands of Chicago Cubs fans coming to collide with the red-hot Cincinnati Reds fans. So this is a big hospitality weekend in Cincinnati. So it's very appropriate that we are hearing today from one of the premier hospitality companies in this city, in our region, in a multi-state region. So it's great to have you here, Brittany. This is also a meeting of women power. This meeting is sponsored by the Girl Scouts of Southwestern Ohio. And, just a few minutes ago, I was thinking, how am I going to weave in the men who are on the dais with me? But I just learned that actually two of the men fell off the agenda, and they're being replaced by women. So more women power up here on the dais. And how cool is that? Let's begin our meeting as we always do with the national anthem, led today by Stephanie Shear and Jacob Metzler. Stephanie? In our invocation and four-way test.
Good afternoon. Please pray with me. Dear Lord, let your help and healing shine on us like sunrise. Let us pray for all Rotarians who work selflessly to give light to those in darkness and despair, for those who bring joy to people in need of sunshine, for Rotarians who always put service above self. Today also, let us give thanks for the people and companies that make our tri-state the successful and thriving community it has become. To live, to work, to play, to eat, for business expansions and business successions, for neighborhoods, parks, rivers, hiking and biking trails, to our simply beautiful area. Let us remember with tenderness of your light, dear Lord, and help all of us spread light throughout the community and beyond. Amen. And now, for the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Hello and welcome to the Rotary Club 17's lunch meeting today. I'm going to be announcing all of the guests and prospective members She's also visiting homes, guests of John Barmeyer and Elizabeth Barmeyer, once again visiting. Kate McIntosh with Girl Scouts of Western Ohio. She is also a board member. And last but not least, Jack Kors from Northside Bank, guest of Outconscious. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephanie. As I mentioned, Girl Scouts of Southwestern Ohio is our sponsor, meeting sponsor today. Please welcome our member, Carol Sorode. Carol.
Hello. Girl Scouts of Western Ohio serves 30,000 girls in 32 counties, including 2 counties in Indiana. We serve girls from Toledo to Cincinnati, and we support 11,000 adult volunteers. Girl Scouts builds girls of courage, confidence, and character to make the world a better place. Girls who are confident enough to initiate, plan, and make change in their communities. Girls who are courageous enough to try new things even if they fail. And girls who have the character to be true to themselves and to others. Girl Scouts offers every girl in grades K through 12 a range of experiences in STEM, outdoors, entrepreneurship, and life skills, all in a supportive sisterhood where Girl Scouts of all backgrounds and abilities can unapologetically be themselves unapologetically as they discover their strengths and rise to meet new challenges. Whether girls want to climb to the top of a tree or the top of their class, lace up their boots for a hike, or advocate for climate justice, or simply make their first best friends, Girl Scouts is a place where every girl belongs. Please take some time after the meeting to come and meet Amy, our CEO, and Peyton, our Girl Scout board member, and learn how you can connect with Girl Scouts to support us. And I did leave these connect cards on your table, so fill them out and come visit me, and we'll see how you can help support girls in our region. Thank you.
All right, another great highlight of this meeting is the introduction of 2 new members, Lisa Lucas and Rocky Simone. Josh Vogel and Kelly Mahan, will you come forward and introduce us to our new members? Josh, I'll let you go first.
It's my pleasure to introduce my friend Rocky Simone. Rocky and I met about 20 years ago, but unfortunately lost touch over the last couple of years. And in October of 2023, Rocky heard my interview I gave on 700 WLW for the Rotary Club Project Heart Restart. This was Rocky's first encounter with the Cincinnati Rotary Club. Soon after, Rocky reached out to Mark Johnston, a member of the committee, who in turn directed him to Steve King and myself. Since that time, Rocky has been an active participant in Project Heart Restart and a regular attendee of our club meetings. Rocky and I also had the opportunity to reconnect and work on an awesome project in Project Heart Restart. While spending several months working on the Project Heart Restart committee, Rocky was drawn to the Rotary vision, mission, and 4-way toast and inquired about the prospect of joining the Rotary Club to help the sharing these principles. Rocky is a native of Northern Kentucky and a proud alumnus of Northern Kentucky University College of Business, and after 5 years of being away, Rocky, along with his wife Colleen, who is also sitting for membership today, the committee, moved back to Cincinnati and settled on the west side of Cincinnati. Rocky is currently the Vice President of Sales at Edge Industrial Technologies and an international manufacturer of high-quality industrial machine knives for packing, food processing, printing, and converting industries. He enjoys traveling with his wife, rooting for the Reds, the Bengals, and FC Cincinnati, and is a member of the Western Hills Country Club determined to improve his and Colleen's golf games. Please give me a warm welcome in welcoming Rocky.
understand Lisa is that she gets stuff done. And if I weren't at Rotary, you know what I'm saying. She gets stuff done. She's smart, she's strategic, she gets the big picture, and is extremely efficient. If you need someone that can align and execute on your company's vision, she is your person. I know this because I had the honor of working with Lisa at my previous company, a marketing firm, where she managed one of our largest, frankly one of the most challenging accounts. Lisa has had a long career in marketing, including at several local agencies, including Saatchi, Norblick, and Icon Marketing. For the last 6 years, Lisa served as a senior communications specialist at Kroger. And I hope she doesn't get mad at me for this, but she is far better. Having my own marketing firm for 20 plus years, I can relate to wanting to switch roles at this stage in her life. So Lisa's looking for a role that will allow her to align more with the community and giving back. I mention this not as a shameless plug because it's why we are all here. To give back, to help each other, and help others in our community. Personally, Lisa is the best kind of friend. She's honest, she's kind, and most important, she is really fun. She actually just told me that when she was doing her interview with the committee. They asked her, how would Kelly describe you in one word? And she said, fun. Very true. She's also generous with her time and her talents. In fact, so much so that I recruited her to be on my 2 days committee literally the minute I saw the email come through saying she was accepted as a new 17 member. She took on not one, but 2 committee roles and has already made a big impact and has seamlessly helped to manage the marketing and community partners for 2 days. I'm confident this will be a tremendous addition and asset to our club, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to introduce her to you today.
All right, speaking of getting involved right away, as Lisa got recruited to the 2 days committee, Pete Armstrong has been helping a slate of new members get engaged in our club, and today is the celebration of an accomplishment. And Pete Armstrong, let's celebrate.
Thank you, President Doug. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It has given me intense pleasure to serve as a new member coordinator. And today we are going to recognize 6 new members who have completed their new member checklist. Not all are here today, but we will recognize them just the same. As I call your name, if you are in attendance, please come forward. Todd Anderson, Brian Bowling, Emil Brown, Trevor Cobain, Jim Cunningham, Dolores Dodson, Emil El Shamaz, Nancy Hand, Courtney Clear, Katie McCann, Emily Moss, Chris Moyer, Sarah Portman, Shamira Smith, Michelle Starr, and Jessica Stearns. This has been a long time coming, and it's been a lot of hard work. Okay, so now, if the sticker is still on your badge, grab a hold of it and tear it off. Good, okay. Congratulations, you are now fully initiated members of the Rotary Club of Cincinnati with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities. And thank you to all who have served as new member advisors. It is a particularly important, vital role, and we appreciate your support. We continue to need new advisors as we have a steady stream of new members, thanks to all of you bringing them in. Now, go forward and remember service above self.
So Jessica's been out and about and is going to present the club with a flag. Jessica, I'll let you.
So in February, I was in Guatemala with the Guatemala Literacy Project of Rotary, and I exchanged flags with the Rotary Club of Quetzaltenango. They're celebrating their 90th year this year, so they are one of the oldest clubs in Central America. And I presented them with the Cincinnati Club flag. They were very excited. They were very excited to know we were Club 17. And so, here.
All right, meeting announcements, a couple real quick ones. So next week, Larry Kennemore, who is a Rotary Action Group national, international leader in Rotary, will be our speaker coming in from Arkansas, I believe. So please don't miss it. Your reservations are due by tomorrow night. The following week, June 18th, is our next monthly breakfast coffee meeting. It's going to be at the Red Tree Art Gallery in Oakley. Reservations are recommended but not required, but please do bring your prospective members. Again, the whole idea of these monthly breakfasts is if you can't make your weekly lunch on Thursdays, become a Rotarian and just come to our monthly breakfast meetings that may fit your schedule better. So again, another great way to become a Rotarian. And then finally, on June 20th, we have the next edition of our Professional Leadership Series. Alan Lindemann, a business consultant, is going to be talking essentially a book club review type session on the book, the fabulously popular book, Extreme Ownership. So you're not going to want to miss this professional leadership class. It begins at 11 o'clock on June 20th. Again, make your reservation through DACDB by June 13th. If you haven't heard about that book, Extreme Ownership, essentially the gist of it is that we are all successful in our own ways, every single one of you, and a part of that success is because you're taking ownership of the things you do, full responsibility for everything that you do. And anything that happens to you, don't play the blame game. It's all about your ownership of what you do in life. A very, very fitting topic for us Rotarians. Okay, that's the end of the announcements. And now, what many of you have been waiting for, split the pot. Because the jackpot is now up to $2,500. Today's jackpot is $77. So if you were the winner of today's jackpot and you are a Rotarian, you then can pull either the Queen of Hearts or some other club, and but you got to pull the Queen of Hearts for the $2,500. So Brittany, let me let you pull, and does anybody want to give her direction on what color to pull? Red, blue? Blue, red. It's red. 373025. 373025.
welcome Britney Ruby Miller. She's the president and CEO of Xavier University Culinary Entertainment. I'm sure you all are familiar with the various operations around the city. She leads a team of over 900 employees across Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. They recently announced a new venture into catering. She grew up in the family business founded by her father, Jeff Ruby, in 1981. Worked in nearly every position over 20 years while earning a degree in religious studies at UC. She then attended the Midwest Culinary Institute and is currently pursuing her MBA from Xavier. In 2011, Britney joined the home office team and soon took over operations, quickly reorganized the corporate group, which now has over 50 members. They recently have expanded their business to over $100 million in 2023. They operate 7 steakhouses and the newest event and catering venture, the Lempicka by Jeff Ruby. Ruby's restaurants have earned national acclaim, including Open Table's Top 100, naming Carlo and Johnny's and Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse among Ohio's top 6 foodie restaurants.
We can stop there. It'd make me real comfortable.
The best steakhouses in America by Travel and Leisure, Food Network, USA Today, and Business Insider. Britney and her family are making a great impact in the community through their Jeff Ruby Foundation. Ruby sits on the board of Cincinnati Visitors Bureau, Ohio Restaurant Association, and the Joe Burrow Foundation. She's a member of Young Presidents Organization and recently became a best-selling author. Her memoir is a 5-star life. She's a wife and mom to 4 kids. Please welcome Britney Ruby Miller.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I wanted to stop you because I hate when people read my bio. It's way too long. It's embarrassing a little bit, but anyways, thank you all for having me. I do have a quick question. Do I need to stay behind here or am I loud enough? Can you hear me? Take the mic? Okay. First of all, I didn't know that you met once a week. And the fact that I got to pray, I'm in a church and I'm eating amazing food, sign me up for this club. I love it so much. I actually really might sign my brother Brandon Ruby up. Is that okay? All right. Find me, Britney@jeffruby.com. It's really simple. And you spell my name Britney, Britney, like Britney Spears, except not as crazy. Okay. Doug, you don't know this, but when I was going to UC, I lived at the Shillito building. And you gave me my first look into what it means to be a professional. And I would go walk my little dog. I had a little teacup Yorkie, very bougie, yes, in college. And I would walk my dog every morning super early, and you were always there, right, with the business courier. You could see the window there, and there you were, as consistent as possible. But then also, when I was going to Ruby's, you can only delegate what you know. That's one of my takeaways, is I worked every position in the company. And so when I was going for my night shift, I would walk by, and he's still there behind his desk, laser focused. And that taught me, 1, be consistent in the leadership, in your own leadership, be a consistent leader, but always be the first ones in, last one out. And I have kept that with me forever. So thank you for being an example. You didn't even know it was what you were doing for someone like me watching you. Well done, and continue to do it. I didn't know this was going to be a women-focused event. I just learned that, and so that makes me really excited. We are 60% women-led at our home office. We have 50 people, 60-ish now, and we're about 35% in the restaurants, which, believe it or not, that was one of our goals. That was one of our metrics, was over the past 5 years to increase that, and then we are going to continue to evolve that into diversity and where we need to go, but we started first with women, and I'm really proud of that. And I want to say, Peyton, with the Girl Scouts over here, I want to affirm you because at 17 years old, the fact that you're on a board, I didn't join my first board till I think I was 40 years old, so I feel like such an underachiever next to you. Keep up the great work. I think it's awesome, and I love that you all were the sponsor of this event and I get to be here. So when I thought about, I guess before I get into what I'm going to say, the other thing I really want to emphasize is how grateful I am that you all are here and that you show up. I thought it was once a month. I'm learning now once a week, even a greater commitment. I love Cincinnati so much that I should have a Cincinnati tattoo. It's all I talk about. My husband's from Texas. He didn't understand it. He's like, Texas is the greatest place. I'm like, no, it is not. Cincinnati's the greatest place. Why? I try to explain it. I really can't. I'm just like, because this is the place. This is where I grew up. And I will tell you, he was drafted to the Bengals before the Banks, before really OTR, and he was like, I got drafted to the worst city in America ever. And he was just not, he was like, why am I here? Well, one, God wanted him to meet me, so that was pretty cool. And I will tell you now, he is obsessed with this city as much as I am, and has now become a true Cincinnatian. And the fact that you all are here, I am a huge believer that you cannot be in business and you cannot be in leadership if you are not involved in 2 to 3 organizations outside your own. All boats rise with the tide, and we are only as strong as our communities in which we do business in. And so for us with 7 steakhouses in our restaurants, that's part of our core belief and core values is that in every market that we're in, that we are super rooted into that community, hopefully making each community better. And so I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for investing in Cincinnati. Thank you for taking the time to network. There is nothing more important, I think, for this community than organizations like this, and this is a really great one. So I'm happy to be here. It's my second time speaking to this group. And so the first time that I was here, and Cynthia, thank you for asking me, I was like, said to Maggie, my assistant, does she know I've already spoke to this group before? So what more could I bring that you haven't already heard? Because I'm very humbled because every single one of you could get up here and give a motivational speech. You could talk about business, you could talk about your city, you could talk about your faith, many things. And I think we would all learn from each other just in this room with a 15-minute speech. The last time I spoke, I think we were just coming out of COVID. This will not be as doom and gloom, thank God. We got through that, but it was really nice because I think we were still in masks and we were all still very scared, and business was, are we getting back in this, are we not? Do we have shower curtains that are separating all of us? Which I'm proud of that. I actually served on Governor DeWine's task force, and we were the only ones in America that was able to bypass the 6 feet as long as you had a shower curtain there. So our businesses were still, we were able to thrive here in Ohio, not the same in Kentucky. And so when we met though, I think that's what I spoke about, was how hard COVID has been on restaurants. It's still extremely hard. And I think it's very hard not only for restaurants, it's very hard for business just in general. When you look at the talent, the war on talent still there, cost of goods sold are still through the roof. The labor crisis is still very real. And now we're in a year right now where who knows what's gonna happen. And so what am I doing? Buckle up, basically, you don't know. And that's one thing COVID taught me was what are your top 10 takeaways? And it's always preparing for the worst, but having hope that hopefully, optimistically business is gonna be okay. I do have hope that business is gonna be okay, after election and where we're going with restaurants. And so, but I am a doomsday prepper. So if anybody wants to know where my mind is, I'm constantly still looking at the balance sheet. I'm constantly looking at cash flow. I'm still constantly preparing for if restaurants are shut down. I don't think they're gonna be shut down, but that's where my mind is. And so what would be different from, like I said, the doom and gloom of the last time? The only thing that I could think of recently, somebody asked me to speak, a president of a company, a locally owned global company, asked me to come speak. Their CEO wanted me to come talk about our business. They saw this, the exclusive in the Business Courier for us hitting 100 million in revenue. And I said, but you already, I told the president, you guys already have an amazing business. What can I help with? And he said, well, our CEO dines at Carlo and Johnny all the time. And he is blown away by that level of excellence within a business that large. And he is now on a mission to make our company the Jeff Ruby experience of this business. And so I thought about, well, what does that look like? How do I explain what we do at Ruby's? Like if I were to teach that, how would we just do it. and when it boils down to, and I joke because you all are gonna know what I say, I'm gonna ask somebody, what do you think the difference is from a high-performing customer experience business? One word, what do you think? It starts with a C. Culture. Culture over everything. And I was blessed enough to grow up with a father of integrity. My dad, Jeff Ruby, people rally around this guy. Like for years, I just saw it. And that doesn't mean he was always the nicest guy. Direct is kind in the Ruby house. Clear is kind. Very direct, very transparent. However, I think everybody who rallied around him knew the heart that he had and the man that he is and what he does for Cincinnati. So he paved the way for me really easily to be able to slide into these restaurants, and over the course of 30 years, it was all tribal knowledge. Everything that we had was tribal knowledge. So we built, 1981, I was born in 82. So he built a restaurant that basically just thrived off of culture. And how do you cast a vision? And this guy was in the restaurants all the time, and he demanded excellence. But people want to work for excellent leaders. I don't think anybody in this room wants to work for a mediocre leader, nor do you want to be a mediocre leader yourself. My job coming in as Generation 2, I had 2 jobs. 1, don't screw it up, and 2, translate all of that tribal knowledge to documents. And so that's the only way we're able to scale our business. Teach, train, equip, empower, let go. And I don't think that you can let go until you've done all of those steps. And so we took, essentially, I built a really great team. My dad taught me that if you have to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. And I have people in my office who are smarter than me, I'm not afraid to admit it, in every one of their respective departments. So I am not the expert at sales, I'm not the expert at hospitality. My dad says he's the expert of opinions. I agree with him on that. I'm not the CFO. I'm getting, my last 3 classes for my master's MBA, I've been putting it off for a while, are all finance. So I have a really good CFO. But I'm not the expert in marketing. I'm not the expert in operations. But I am a good leader. And I'm proud of that. And it took me a long time. We have 900 employees. And the reason why I'm a good leader is because I have people around me who are excellent at what they do, and they care about being a good leader as well. And so our home office, we go through and we invest heavily into what's called transformational leadership. It's been, probably now 10 years, and we are rolling this out. Actually, we have operating agreements and leases, but we have an operating plan that we do every year. And on that operating plan is how do we take this corporate culture that we have and how do we really implement that beyond, down to the dishwashers and down to hostess, to the line level, the people who are really in our restaurants, making our restaurants what they are. It's one thing to sit at the corporate office and say, hey, we have really great culture up here, but I don't run P&G. I run restaurants. And I run people who have awesome entry-level jobs who love it. And also my job is to inspire other culinarians to go to culinary school. That's why I went to Midwest Culinary Institute. I was on the board Cincinnati State for a while. And I want people to be excited about restaurants because restaurants lost 1 million workers after COVID. And so our job is to inspire them, but also to not be tone deaf and make sure that when those people come back, because I believe they will, that I have a company, I can't speak for every business, but I have a company that I know I would be proud for my kids to work for and to work at. And I think that's I'm going to Chick-fil-A next week, and we got a hold of, through a different business organization I'm part of, the family, and said, hey, I really want to bring my team down there. And I think one, you do service really, really, really well, but you do culture even better. And I want to know what you're doing for culture. And so we're headed down there. I'm excited about that. But that really is basically, I think, the key. And then putting it on paper and being able to do that. And so here's the other thing about culture and being a good leader. You can't fake it. There's a lot of lip service out there. There's a lot of documents within HR that say we should have good culture. How many businesses are actually doing that? And the only way that you can do that is if you're a great human being. I feel accountable to God. I feel accountable to my family. That's like it. That's all that matters to me. If I take care of all of that, my community and my guests, and I feel like our guests, I should say, will come back. And if I'm being a great leader to our team, they say culture is the #1 most important talent acquisition tool, is your culture. And so that's what's the most important to Jeff Ruby and to the Jeff Ruby experience. And so now with 7 steakhouses, we're in Nashville, Lexington, Louisville. We rolled out about 3 within 5 years, and then we just did Lempicka. I am so proud that you were able to pronounce that. Everybody's like, what's Lempicka? It's an event space. But it's downtown. I will just plug it really quick. Tamara de Lempicka was one of the greatest female artists of all time. So in our restaurants, all of the murals that you'll see in this 1920s Art Deco incredible design and brand really was from her. And I grew up probably knowing who Lempicka was before I knew how to say the ABCs. And we had an amazing designer. He built the waterfront, and my dad is an amazing designer too. But he really, he was doing Hollywood movie sets and then came to open the waterfront, which is crazy when you think about the design at the waterfront. Dave Stevens. And Dave Stevens was the one who brought that, and then, everything really was around that brand. And so all the colors that are in the restaurants, all the art, all of it is part of Tamara's art. 2nd highest selling artist of all time. And she was a trailblazer. So I got asked, I'll make this real quick because I'm going to have a couple of questions, I think, leave some time, to sit in, which I hate doing, naming restaurants. Name the event center. We're going to go through a branding session. I'm like, aren't we paying you to do this? This is a third party, external company, a branding agency that should come up with the name. And they're like, well, they want a couple of stakeholders in there. And so it just really went around the circle. And, it was like, do we call it Jeff Ruby's Crown Jewel? Do we call it, I don't even know some of the names. Jeff Ruby's Event Center could be one. And I saw a piece of her art up on the wall, and I was really just kind of like daydreaming like I do a lot. And I said, maybe Lempicka. And half the people loved it and half hated it. They're like, you're never going to be able to explain what Lempicka is. And I said, that's what I love about it, because I get to tell a story that we are beyond food and we are beyond service. And when you come to our restaurants, they're not cookie cutter, they're not vanilla, they're not franchise steakhouses. It costs us a lot of money to do these restaurants. And so I'm really, really excited that people finally seem to have bought into Lempicka, and we get to talk about what makes our restaurants the point of difference other than the Jeff Ruby experience, which hopefully you all get when you dine in our restaurants. By the way, we're not perfect, we're still learning. Like I said, that 35% is not a goal that we're proud of. We are still learning and we are still growing, and I'm humble enough to say that. And so, I will say on the customer experience side, there might be somebody in here who had a bad experience, but I will tell you this, you will hear from me, Bowie Shinholzer, or Brandon Ruby if it was bad, because I look at every single complaint that comes in. I have a dashboard. We see over 1 million people a year, which is amazing, that come in our restaurants. And the key to the culture piece that I want to make sure that I emphasize is you ask yourself, how do you measure the culture? We do measure it. You can take surveys, there's data, there's different ways within your organizations I'm sure that you all are already doing. For me, the best way that I measure culture is that CEO who wanted me to come speak because he had an amazing experience at Carlo and Johnny, and oh, by the way, he's blind, which blew my mind. I said, how does he know? Like everything he said, the way he's treated by your team. And that makes me so incredibly proud. So do we measure it? Yes. But I hear those stories, I probably hear half a dozen a day. And those stories are why Jack and Cynthia still continue to come into our restaurants, and it's the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your business comes from 20%. They are regulars, and they come in, and Charlie Bledsoe taught me that. Who's gonna keep your lights on every single day? It's the regulars that are coming back constantly and taking care of it through the customer experience. So I would say I measure it by word of mouth and by how we feel. And every data person in this room is saying that's nuts. But I don't think so. And I will tell you this, and I walk out of here today, culture is exuding in this place. I could sense it from sitting down for the intro, for everything. I didn't sing actually the national anthem only because I'm mic'd up, and somebody will use that against me. So I had to because my voice is terrible and nobody wants to hear it. But there is such a culture within this place, and so I just want to bring it back around full circle and say thank you all for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to answer any questions or mosey on off. Hopefully I came in on time, I'm not sure, but thank you.
So growing up in family business,
Yes, he did. He wanted, I thought when I graduated from UC, I was ready to put the power suit on, because I had done pretty much every position except server. And so I'm ready to go to corporate, and I'm ready to do my thing. By the way, corporate was like 3 people. No, it was 8. 6 of them were highly dysfunctional too. So my assignment was serving, which is the greatest thing he could have done for me. Now, the one thing I didn't want to do was serve him. So somehow I found my way around that. Neil Collinsworth, it was funny when Caleb was playing for the Bengals, he was playing for Marvin Lewis, and he was referred to as the players coach. And I went to work for Neil Collinsworth, and he gave me the grace of never, he still pushed me so hard. He's like, you just do your job. I will make sure that Jeff Ruby doesn't sit in your station. And I said, you are the greatest Marvin Lewis coach I could ever ask for. Thank you so much. That is the $1 million question. Somebody tell me, no. So he asked how I balance being a mom and a wife and having 4 kids. I check in daily. I don't believe in work-life balance. I've surrendered to I'm never really going to feel totally balanced. What I do believe in is taking a daily temperature on my kids. I call it their love tanks. I see where their love tanks are. And if their love tanks aren't where they need to be, then I will readjust my schedule to make sure that I tap into the kids. I have great people around me. I also surrendered to thinking that I can control everything, because I can't. And so I can't be the parent that I thought I was going to be, which was 100% me as a control freak. And I realized how important and how critical it is to have a village around you. And so that village around me of people that I trust to help me raise my kids. And I will give you an example, a real-time example that happened yesterday, because I feel like maybe somebody needs to hear this, maybe a mom in the room. Well, one of my kids recently is just starting to have a little bit of anxiety. And I am pouring into this kid, Caleb's pouring into this kid, we're trying, so like, we've done all the scriptures, we've done the prayer, we've done all the therapy I've been through, TFA, thoughts, feelings, actions, like everything. And it keeps this thing keeps kind of happening. And we have an 18-year-old, amazing, my stepson. And I said, will you go pick her up from dance? Because she needs to hear from her big brother right now. And the old control freak mom of me would have been like, here I go, I'm gonna go rescue and save the day. But I also will call my best friend, I'll call Maria and say, hey, this kid needs you, can you come? That doesn't mean that I delegate all the parenting, but I know eventually, sometimes, there's gonna be coaches, pastors, friends, counselors, and so I have a really great community around me that I trust. So, and just try to balance it as much as I can.
We've done all the scriptures, we've done the prayer, we've done all the therapy I've been through, TFA, thoughts, feelings, actions, like everything.
Yep.
And it keeps kind of,
Yes.
keeps kind of happening.
I saw a stat on it yesterday when I was at the Restaurant Association, which is where I thought you were going with that. How do we navigate that there just are fewer people downtown? I was going to talk about that in this speech, but I was afraid that was too doom and gloom, so I bypassed it, because I have a strong opinion on it. We aren't open for lunch. People are like, why don't you open for lunch at the Foundry? It would be great. You want to bring everybody back to the office? We will open. How do we navigate? One of the questions, though, I will talk a little bit about different age groups that are coming into our restaurants now, because we would be dumb not to think about how do we digitalize, digitalize? I make up my own words. But how do I continue to keep technology top of mind when we are in a fine dining, very, very personal business? And I joked to John Barker, who's the president and CEO of the Ohio Restaurant Association, when he asked me on the spot, what are we doing? And I said, I don't know, I would have to go ask that robot server of yours, Jeff Ruby, at Jeff Ruby's. You're not gonna give the Jeff Ruby experience through AI or through a robot. But what we can do is make sure that everything in our back office and everything that we're doing for our controllables to ensure that our metrics are there. One of the things that the CEO brought up to this president was, well, I don't want to add any more corporate overhead. I don't want to add more people. And my question back was, what's your payroll? What's your percentage to sales? And then I said, when kind of unsure, that's okay. Sometimes you got to go back to a P&L and look. I said, but will you give me your P&L before so that I can really look? Because I've been told I'm top heavy, that we should trim the fat at corporate. And I don't, because I know I can back up what, after all of those line items are paid for, what my profit is. And our profit's good compared to the industry. And I know some of you are thinking, because you're $140 check average, my cost of goods sold are extremely high as well. And it's, restaurant margins are 1 to 3% typically profit. 1 to 3%. We're higher than that. The chains get up to about 10%. But what are we doing using AI? And I'm using, trying to use whatever type of technology we can to help us and help my people. I was at a YPO event, and they brought in one of the experts on AI. He's on CNN all the time, and he's a contributor for LinkedIn. And he said people are so afraid of what AI is going to do for their business. What if you talk to your employees and say, hey, I don't want you to be here until 10 o'clock at night. I want you to be at home at 5, and I want you to have dinner with your family. And I want you to have more time off. Can you find a way that AI can help you do that? I was like, that's genius. I love that. And so when it comes to who's downtown and foot traffic, it is what it is. The only way that we're going to get around that is being bold enough in a room full of this audience saying, please bring your people back downtown. With that being said, be flexible, right? Fridays are always going to be a ghost town, I think, from here on out. Just, that's the way that I think that it works. But there are many people who do want to work from home. What I told our folks at the office, and we're on the second floor of Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse, during COVID actually, I said, we're asking our servers and our chefs, they're working tight on the line, they're cooking. If we're asking our own employees, all 825 of them, to be in the restaurants, to serve our guests that are in the restaurants, we better be in our office. And there was no more questions after that, so I thought that was pretty good. So we're there all the time. Yes. Thank you. The Jeff Ruby Foundation, thank you for asking. I'm very excited to share that we put the foundation to sleep. 2020, we had a big gala that was planned, and we usually, top line revenue, will do between $600,000–700,000 to $1 million for one gala, because we realize that we're not the ones grassroots on the ground doing the nuts and bolts. So we just really, 100% of that flows out to other nonprofits in our city. But we realize the impact that we can have specifically with children. My dad never knew who his dad was. His mom had 4 husbands. He refers to them as his forefathers. He ran away from home at 15 years old because no one ever wanted to claim him as their son. And so our nonprofit is about foster care and specifically trying to get Cincinnati off the top 5 poverty list in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we think that happens through the foster care system. For us, everybody to each his own. That's what makes this world go round. And so, but we realized, and actually my husband, when he was done playing football, was international missions. And that was, but we were having kids, and I kind of wanted him here, not in the Philippines where we were, in Africa. And so 2 years we worked and looked at really what the strategy could be to make that impact. And then we're ready to go, and it's like, put it to bed. So we just relaunched it, and we're going to be doing a golf outing, first event. It'll be a 5-star golf outing, though, and we're hoping that we still raise that same amount. And then, we're really big just in the grassroots nonprofits that are in that space. So we're excited to get back going, so thank you for asking. Yeah, I saw that. Right. Mm-hmm. That stat made me sad. Yeah, so Cincinnati just fell from top 10, I think now they're, no, they were, what number were they before? Now they're 15 or, so Lexington and two of our markets are in the top 10, and Cincinnati fell behind. So I wish I had the answer other than, I don't know what the source is, where they're taking this data, what the metrics are. I think a lot of it sometimes also has to do with marketing your city. And so I'm really proud of, I'm on the CVB here, and I think really visit Cincy, and especially in Northern Kentucky too, now that they've merged. And so trying to, whenever I hear John Barrett speak, I'm sure he's spoke here before. He gets up, no notes, and he just gets me fired up for Cincinnati. And so I would say let's keep firing people up for Cincinnati by doing these types of events. Good? Anything?
Thank you again. So we have a corporate membership that Jeff Ruby Culinary Entertainment could have 3 spots, one for you. You don't have to come every single week. And then
You're bold, too.
2 of your
3 of us.
associates could come and
That would be
enjoy
great.
our leadership experiences. So thank you for that,
Thank you.
number 1. Number 2, thanks for the personal shout outs. Very appreciative of that. But most importantly, as someone said, you are a rising, already major G2 in our region. So keep doing what you're doing. So glad that we were able to have you come back and speak about culture as opposed to talking about COVID.
Yeah,
And, so
that was the title of my speech. Thanks for writing it just now.
That's exactly
Culture
right.
over COVID.
Exactly. So as a token of our appreciation,
Thank you.
this 4-way test-laden coin with our city's beautiful
That's
skyline. Thank you again. Let's give her
I'll put on
another
this
big
side.
round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Incredibly above whatever the benchmark is on all of those restaurants. And so, but all of it is measured. But I go back to how important training is. And my dad said, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. And so for us, it's anytime I get frustrated at these things, I literally will sometimes I'll take the day off and I'll go home and I want to blame myself on purpose. That's why I can't wait to read that book. Taking ownership, that's huge. There's a lot of people who are victims and it's everybody else's fault. So I'm saying, why am I so upset about this? Well, I hired the training person, probably didn't teach, train, equip, empower, and let go well enough to be able to get that tablecloth and show them exactly how to do it before they hit the floor.
Speaking of competition, one of your competitors in downtown Cincinnati does not offer desserts because they want to increase their turnover of tables.
They're not ordering, I'm sorry. They took desserts off the menu?
Does not offer desserts because they want to increase the turnover rate of their
Man, I want to be that busy. Especially coming up here soon when you're seeing disposable incomes going down drastically. Okay, so my dad, when he opened the precinct, was in that same position. And so he said he would turn the tables really quickly. And he would say, now, if you want to get dessert, though, we will have a spot upstairs in the nightclub for you if you want to have dessert. One of Jeff Ruby's greatest sayings to me, we have a lot of them, we call them the Rubyisms. Short-term greed is long-term regret. That is a short-term, I don't know who this person is, I'm sorry if you're my friend. But that's we just, sometimes he should serve humble pie. Okay. Jeff Ruby Foundation, thank you for asking. I'm very excited to share that we put the foundation to sleep. 2020, we had a big deal that was planned, and we usually, top line revenue will do between $600,000 to $1 million for one gala, because we realize that we're not the ones grassroots on the ground doing the nuts and bolts, so we just really, 100% of that flows out to other nonprofits in our city. And so, but we realize the impact that we can have, specifically with children. My dad never knew who his dad was. His mom had 4 husbands. He refers to them as his forefathers. He ran away from home at 15 years old because no one ever wanted to claim him as their son. And so our nonprofit is about foster care and specifically trying to get Cincinnati off the top 5 poverty lists in Cincinnati, Ohio. We think that that happens through the foster care system. For us, everybody to each his own. That's what makes this world go round. And so, but we realized, and actually my husband, when he was done playing football, was international missions. And that was, but we were having kids and I kind of wanted him here, not in the Philippines where we were.
And so 2 years we worked and looked at really what the strategy could be to make that impact. And then we're ready to go, and it's like put it to bed. So we just relaunched it, and we're going to be doing a golf outing, first event. It'll be a 5-star golf outing though, and we're hoping that we still raise that same amount. And then, we're really big just in the grassroots nonprofits that are in that space. So we're excited to get back going, so thank you for asking. Yes, all that. Right. That made me sad. Yeah, I don't. So Cincinnati just fell from top 10. I think now they're. No, they were. What number were they before? Now they're 15 or. So Lexington and our two of our markets are in the top 10, and Cincinnati fell behind. So I wish I had the answer other than I don't know what the source is, where they're taking this data, what the metrics are. I think a lot of it sometimes also has to do with marketing your city, and so I'm really proud of, I'm on the CBB here, and I think really visit Cincy, and especially in northern Kentucky too, now that they've merged, and so trying to, whenever I hear John Barrett speak, I'm sure he's spoke here before, he gets up no notes, and he just gets me fired up for Cincinnati. And so I would say let's keep firing people up for Cincinnati by doing these types of events. Ready?
So we have a corporate membership that Jeff Ruby Culinary Entertainment has had 3 spots, one for you. You don't have to come every single week. And then two of your associates could come and enjoy our leadership experiences. So thank you for that, number 1. Number 2, thanks for the personal shout out. Very appreciative of that. But most importantly, as someone said, you are a rising, already major G2 in our region. So keep doing what you're doing. So glad that we were able to have you come back and speak about culture as opposed to talking about COVID. And so, that's exactly right. COVID, exactly. So, as a token of our appreciation, this 4-way test-laden coin with our city's beautiful skyline. Thank you again. Let's give her another big round of applause. I don't know how we follow that, and I'm not going to try. Meeting adjourned.